Welcome to the Halliwell Manor. I'm Max.
And I'm Tina.
And we are here to discuss Season 6, still Season 6.
Oh my god.
Episode 20.
A Wrong Day's Journey into Night. Okay, here's the thing.
Go on.
Okay, two of my least favorite things about Charmed.
Alright.
How bullshit I find
Personal gain
to be, right? It's not fair and it doesn't make sense. Why are we even doing magic if there's no personal gain? Like, no, it's bullshit and I don't like it. I do not like the personal gain rules, so don't like that. And the second thing I don't like on Charmed is when everyone's shitting on Paige for no reason. Uh-oh. So this is not one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a nothing burger of an episode. Like, there are worse episodes of Charmed, but it's not even fun bad. Like, and I'm willing to be wrong about this. I will accept being wrong about this. But I am so excited for next week's Witch Wars.
The reality TV episode?
Yes. A widely loathed episode of Charmed where they fight a reality TV demon.
Also, how long has it been since we've really brought up Buffy on this podcast? A week? 2? No, I joke, but I feel like I almost want to watch the Slayer Fest episode of Buffy to prepare for watching Witch Wars.
Oh. Yeah, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. Yeah, this is a real nothing burger of an episode. I think what makes it worse is that it's a repeated plot. Like, they pointed out in this episode, but, like, we already did a magically creating a man for sex reasons episode.
Like, 4 episodes ago. Not even, like, 4 seasons ago. Like, 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, it's pretty rough when you're bringing back ideas that recent. And this is something Charmed has a big problem with going forward.
Ooh, I'm going to do my time freeze right now. Are you ready?
Go for it.
This is the kind of shit you get when you do 24 episodes a season. I mean, I miss a lot of things about long seasons now that we've gone to a streaming model where we get 8 to 10 episodes per season every 4 years. Yeah. But this kind of filler episode that does nothing, yeah, we don't have room for that anymore.
Tina has been guiding me through Star Trek, something which I always dismissed as really boring and unpleasant to watch. Mm-hmm. But through your guidance, I've discovered a love for Star Trek. I like Star Trek quite a bit now. The thing is, every time I deviate from the list of episodes you give me, it is boring horseshit. Like,
you really do need a guide with Star Trek. You know, I've been saying for a long time, and I've never actually done anything about it, but I feel like being a curator of TV shows in general and Star Trek episodes in specific, I feel like that's something I would be good at if it was a real job.
There's a whole episode that's just Geordi and a Klingon stuck in a wet hole. That's the whole episode.
Oh, yeah, there is, isn't there? Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. There are much better, by which I mean you would enjoy them more, Geordi episodes. I'm sorry you watched that one.
I also didn't care for the one where he's like a phasic ghost or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't actually think I've seen many good Geordi episodes.
Yeah, well, I will make that a goal to find some good ones for you. He's a great utility player. Unfortunately, that means he doesn't get a lot of great episodes.
Unfortunately, that means he gets paired with Data a lot, and I don't care for Data. Yeah. That's my harsh opinion on Star Trek The Next Generation. I don't like Data plots.
I feel like you're alienating a lot of people right now.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Okay.
This is a podcast where we speak the truth. You're getting our raw opinions here. Yeah, I'm going full guy talking on Joe Rogan or whatever. Yeah, spicy. I don't know. I don't watch Joe Rogan.
Listen to?
Doesn't he do like those video podcasts so you can see him like being all sweaty and red-faced?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So many podcasters do that. They like film themselves recording the podcast and then they put that film up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't want people watching me right now. I don't want to have to be thinking about like sitting in a flattering pose. No, absolutely not. No, you know what I do? I just slap an image over the audio file and I put that on YouTube. I really need to be more diligent about that. You know what? If you all would follow our YouTube channel, I would be motivated to be more diligent about making sure I upload all the episodes. And I just uploaded a bunch of my TikToks that I wanted to save onto YouTube Shorts because
it's officially down now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was scrolling to the end. I scrolled until I got the little notice and
You finished the internet.
right?
But the Basement Yard guys record video podcasts. I mostly know them from out of context clips that make them seem gay. That's my main context for Basement Yard. I've tried watching or listening to the podcast, separate from that, and I understand why they're popular.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, it's kind of for me. It's just these two guys having a conversation that you feel like you're a part of, even though you're not, because it's a podcast.
Well, that's what all podcasts are.
Yeah, but they're talking about, they'll have a subject, and then they just sort of talk about, a guy they knew in school who really liked sharks, if the thing is the aquarium or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting, but, if I wanted that, I'd go out and make friends, so... I'm sorry, Charmed. We're talking about Charmed.
I mean, I was gonna say, podcasts are a warm medium. We are inviting the audience to be in a weird parasocial relationship with us. We want our audience to know that we love them and they are our friends.
Yeah.
Especially you, Chase, listening to this. That was just a thing for anybody named Chase who's listening to our podcast.
Yes. That One American Dad where they had Patrick Stewart, speaking of Next Gen, it was for Dave. He left an answering machine message for anyone named Dave to use.
Yeah.
All right, so I was going to say back in Charmed, we didn't even start talking about the episode.
I mean, I said what I hated about it already. You're right. We haven't started talking about it yet, but I have already shit on it.
Yes, so... The episode opens with Paige being a super witch, which was one of her plots a while back, that she was mega into witchcraft, but, now she has to be mega into witchcraft because,
Sisters are dropping left and right.
Yes, Piper is pregnant and in magic school because Holly Marie Combs was actually pregnant, so they're having her in episodes as little as possible, which, fair.
And Phoebe's curled up on the couch under a blanket all like, oh no, I lost my active power. The thing I used all the time, and it was completely vital to what we do here.
I mean, Paige has got a bunch of Pepe de Silvia boards up. You don't need magic to do one of those.
I know, right? You could cut things out of newspapers for her, because she's got, newspaper clippings and lots of string, and you know what? You could make a run to the craft store without being empathetic about it, Phoebe. Do you need a premonition to tell you to get off your ass and help her research things in the Book of Shadows?
So, Paige has been tracking a demon that's been hunting other demons, and Phoebe's like, why should we care about this? And Paige is like, okay, I don't think I was around for this one. No, in fact, I wasn't around for this one. But remember in the past when a demon was hunting other demons so it could absorb their powers, get up to White Lighter Land, and kill all the elders? It didn't succeed. The Titans took care of that later, except not really. We see a lot of elders considering the fact that the Titans killed, 80% of them.
I mean, maybe a bunch of White Lighters got promoted.
Point.
Yeah.
Huh. So... Anyway, Paige is like, look, if this demon is killing other demons, it's probably planning something bad. And Phoebe's like, should we get Piper out of magic school? And Paige is like, yeah, something bad is happening. Let's get our pregnant sister out of the mystically protected space. What the fuck is wrong with you, Phoebe?
But also, they're still in the research phase.
If it ends up being a Power of 3 thing, then you get her. Or hell, you cast Power of 3 spells over the phone before.
Actually, I would argue that since you're still in the research phase, maybe all of this should be happening at magic school, but I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, considering how Magic School is a really interesting plot engine, and granted, it's a cliche thing, but there's a reason there's a lot of stories that are set at a magic school. It's a cool location, you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. They seem so reticent to use this plot engine, but I mean, that's kind of par for the course for Charmed.
Right? I mean, they didn't use the auction house the way they should. They never use P3, really, other than to bring in Dishwalla.
Yeah, God. Remember when Prue was a photographer? Remember when that was a thing for, it was a long-running career for her for, the season it happened.
I feel like we got more story hooks out of Prue being a photographer than we have out of any of the other stuff that's happened, and she only lasted for 3 years. I mean, it did barely come up, but the Luck of the Irish storyline is so bad that that's gotta count as, 3 things.
God. It had Amy Adams. We mentioned it so much on this podcast. But yeah, Phoebe is being a giant sucking vortex of non-helpfulness. And get ready for that to get worse throughout the course of this episode and over the rest of the show.
I mean, again, I'm ready to be wrong about this. But that's why I don't hate Billy as much as the rest of the fandom does. Because at least she's someone who wants to, do magic, protect people, be a charmed one.
Yeah, Paige is kind of the last one hanging on in that front, which I feel like is more understandable for Piper than for Phoebe, because Piper is, constantly giving birth in this show.
Although even Paige is like, all right, I just want to find this guy fast so I can go take another nap.
And Phoebe's like, you've been napping a lot recently, which kind of, I guess it doesn't particularly, it feels like it kind of contradicts her whole, you've been working so much lately, you're on a super witch kick, but also you've been taking a lot of naps, which I feel like those two things would kind of work in tandem, right?
It's weird. She says that Paige is running herself ragged, but also that she's sleeping a lot, but also that she needs the sleep, so she doesn't want to interrupt her later in the episode.
Then why say anything at all?
I mean, it sounds like Paige might be ill. Maybe you should be concerned. Maybe Paige has long COVID. If she's tired all the time and requires lots of naps and is burning herself out. I mean, just throwing that out there.
So, Paige has figured out that whoever is hunting the demon is going to be hunting a specific demon, a mist demon that only manifests when Mars is in the whateverth house.
Okay, I really like I
think they're smokers. I think smokers is what they're called.
Yeah, I like the smoke demons here. We see some smoke glide in under a stained glass window and coalesce into a human form, and then a hooded cloak appears to give it more of a form, but it stays just a mist. It's a pretty cool effect, and it must be expensive because people show up to kill those smokers real fast.
Hey, it's a couple of blonde women in
dominatrix gear.
I mean,
it's weird.
Really low effort dominatrix gear.
I mean, honestly, I gotta say, maybe this is what was making me think of Billy. They look a lot like Billy does when she's gonna show up at first. It's just like the...
Oh, yeah, they look a lot like Billy when she goes undercover to infiltrate magic school after it gets taken over by demons, which...
But also in the first episode where she's really doing... The first episode where she appears, where she's doing, the superhero aesthetic.
Oh my god, yeah, that. Although she had a dark wig, so... But,
yeah.
But other than that, these... God, yes. So, these blonde women...
sporting latex club wear from the early 2000s.
They throw a couple of potions at the smokers explode, and the priest who they were going to smoke murder runs screaming out of the room like, demons are real.
Okay,
which...
I didn't want to, get too into this, because the episode doesn't care about it. The episode doesn't even mention it to dismiss it. But it feels like all of these demons shouldn't be entering this church so easily. I feel like this could have taken place literally anywhere else, and I wouldn't be all askew trying to figure out what's happening.
I mean, I think literally the only time that is factored into a thing in Charmed, because we've seen demons kill in churches before. Remember I mean, it was pretty early on when the church was more of a thing here, but remember the 3 Warlock brothers, and they killed the two that were trying to, like, get the third one to be a warlock.
Right, I'm not saying that in Charmed demons can't enter churches or kill in churches. I'm just questioning why they added this extra layer to make me question it. Like, why was this a church? Like, it added an extra thing there that now I'm thinking about that is not relevant to the plot.
Oh, I think it's supposed to be to demonstrate that even though these women are killing smoke demons and other demons, they're still evil, because they're like, ooh, killing those demons was fun, but killing the priest would have been more fun.
Oh, this is so that we know for sure that the priest is a good guy? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly kind of surprised they didn't just make it a cop, because that's the sort of thing Charmed does for easy shorthand. Or a soldier. This is very... I mean, we're still in the post...
it's the early 2000s.
Yeah. So, I feel like if you want to have shorthand for this character's a good guy, I mean, I get why they went with priest, but... Yeah. So, yes, they vanquish the smoker demons, the priest goes running out of the room, and the blonde women are like, oh, that was fun, but I wish we could have killed the priest. One of them mentions that they didn't kill the priest because they're under orders not to, so we know that they're working for someone. Paige and Phoebe Orbin, I'm sorry, one of the Demonatrix, spoiler alert, that's what they're called.
They're called Demonatrixes.
God.
Like, if we made that up to make fun of them, it would be fun. But no, that's what the show went with.
One of them looks like Dollar Store Lucy Punch, which...
I can kind of see that, yeah.
They don't even have her do anything fun. If you're going to have an actress that looks like Lucy Punch, do something with that. Or just hire Lucy Punch. She likes to work.
Yeah.
And you could have her say funny stuff before someone blows her up. Or shoots her.
I don't think they could afford Lucy Punch for this role. So, yes, as you were saying, Phoebe and Paige orb in, and of course the Demonatrixes attack.
One of them throws like a shuriken.
Yes.
And Paige redirects it into the other one. She's like, pointy weapony thing, and orbs it into... Did people not know the word shuriken back then?
Honestly, I was going to say throwing star.
Oh, throwing star. There you go. Throwing star.
I mean, I think she's just tired because she's been getting railed all night instead of sleeping.
So they kill the non-Lucy Punch Demonatrix, and the other one blorps out. I don't particularly care for the Demonatrix's teleport thing. They kind of turn into black smoke that gets sucked into itself. It's not terrible, but it's not one of the show's better teleport effects.
I mean, I thought it was fine.
It's fine.
So Paige takes one of the throwing stars that's ended up in the wall behind them, because now it is a clue that they can use to find them. And again, I know that what I'm saying, I know this is Charmed, not real life or a show that cares about things like this, but I would be a little more cautious picking up that throwing star. Oh, I guess she'd already researched them in the Book of Shadows. She knew they were going to be here. Okay. So
she knew the smokers were going to be here.
Oh, right. I mean, we just saw that throwing star cause another demon to burst into flame, and I know they're demons, so their physiology is different than ours, but she casually picks that up, and she's like poking it into her palm to test how sharp it is.
Jesus Christ.
It actually reminds me of when I gave a throwing star as a Christmas present to a person that I was friends with who was very, very into edged weapons. And when he opened the box and pulled out the throwing stars, he was like, oh my god, I've already cut myself twice. This is the perfect gift. Which is to say, it's a little caution page. Oh my god. Which is to say, Rose McGowan is aggressively not giving a shit at the way she's handling the prop.
Yes. Yeah, this is a pretty low effort on everyone's front, episode. Phoebe says they must be low-level demons because of how tacky they were dressed.
Oh, excuse me, Phoebe! Excuse the fuck out of me!
I mean, I would assume that they were low-level demons because they attacked you with, physical weapons instead of energy balls or fireballs or acid or something. I mean, I know most demons can do something energy throwy, but I feel like if you're using physical weapons, that means that you probably don't have a lot going on power-wise.
Oh yeah, absolutely, totally.
I think it's interesting how teleportation is kind of a default power for basically everyone on this show.
You saying that makes it extra funny later when Phoebe's complaining about how she can't even orb.
So they're going to go home, and Phoebe insists that Paige takes a nap because she's done so much already.
I mean, she put together that whole murder board.
She did, and they stopped I guess they killed one of the demons that was hunting the other demons. Paige goes into her room. She orbs some candles into a circle, which I like. That's a neat bit of...
I also really like that the candles in the circle are obviously a witchy thing, but it's also a setting the mood thing, so it's very appropriate for her orbing in her sex partner.
She blurps Mr. Right into existence. It's a different Mr. Right than the Mr. Right the last time they, created a man.
Oh, good, because otherwise it would be weird.
I mean, we assumed that he had sex with all of them in that episode, so...
Yeah.
But this is a different guy. She creates him with clothes, which the last one they didn't do with clothes. Again...
That's because, okay, remember when they were making the last one, they were putting in, like, what they needed? And honestly, I think Paige just really needed somebody who cared about her, because everybody is so focused on themselves right now at this point in the Charmed One's history, unlike other times in their history.
I mean, I'm just saying I could see her summoning a naked dude, too, especially because he is... I know he's an emotional support.
But, I mean, I think the fact that he comes in wearing, like, the flowing romance novel cover top, like the Fabio top and, like, the palazzo pants, shows us what kind of thing it is that she's craving. I think it's a storytelling beat and not necessarily this guy put a no nudity clause in his contract thing.
Okay, so I'm going to be a little mean here. Not super mean.
What?
But a little mean. I don't get why they didn't get a more attractive actor. I mean, he's fine. It's TV. You need to be a certain level of attractive to get on TV.
Right, he's a Marianne, not...
yeah. But it's just, it seems odd that they didn't find a more attractive guy, and he's not like a great actor.
Well,
or anything
remember,
either, so.
They need him to be Mr. Right, but they also need him to play Mr. Wrong. If I was only casting the part of the White Swan, the role would be yours. Yeah, no, you're right, though.
Like, you could have found a better looking guy. He's fine. It's fine. I don't know, maybe this is kind of her type. Remember what Glenn looked like?
Yeah, I was actually thinking bigger than that. I was thinking about how you and I, Max, watched the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and how every guy that she went out on a date with just looked like an overcooked potato.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. They'd be talking about how handsome her date was, and he was like the crypt keeper's grandpa.
So maybe standards for what makes a man hot change much more drastically than women.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I was thinking about, shocking no one, in Buffy.
Uh-huh.
We were talking about how the Overton window shifted for men
being totally jacked because of Marvel.
Yeah, because when you look at Riley, like, I remembered Riley being, like, super jacked, and when, I think I might have been rewatching it without you, like, Mark Blucas was in really good shape, but he was in really good shape, like...
But not also dehydrated.
Well, he was in good shape, like a guy who goes to the gym a couple of hours, 3 times a week, good shape. Not there is a science guy recording every single calorie that goes into your mouth and also making you do reverse bicycle crunches every 10 seconds.
But look, if you want to get really scientific about it and remove as many variables as you can just look at Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the original X-Men movies versus now.
What threw me off, though, is that Spike is super ripped the entire, like, and I'm aware that might just be more James Marsters' natural body shape. Like, I knew a guy in college who I kind of hated because he had a six-pack and did not work out ever.
Well, we know now that that he was definitely a victim of Joss Whedon and that he was being kind of terrorized on set.
Yeah.
So that might have been, working itself out with him in unhealthy ways, like over-exercising and under-eating.
Yeah. You could seriously grate cheese off of James Marsters' abs during season 6. Also, his outfit was, as he described it, basically a sock.
Yeah.
Which, in light of...
I have to say, though, him talking about how much he hated doing that scene in Scene Red.
Yeah.
It made me, feel better about thinking about it as very non-canon. Like, it wasn't a thing that was happening in the show. It was a thing that Joss Whedon was doing to James Marsters. And, I don't know, I'm just glad he's kind of talked about how upsetting that scene is and validated the feelings of, other people who just watched the scene and were like, this is weird and wrong. And it's weird and wrong not just because of what's happening in the scene, which is for the non-Buffy fan who listens to us, which is Spike assaulting Buffy. Not just for, the people who had to do it and be like, this is wrong for our characters, but for the fans watching it who are like, this feels really wrong and out of character in what's happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just saying, I'm glad he spoke out about that. But also, in doing so, he talked about what a shitty time he was being given by Joss Whedon. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's why he's so jacked.
Yeah, people very rightly mostly focus on the stuff he did to the female cast members because, I think it's because he really billed himself as a feminist. So, and I'm not downplaying any of that at all. The things he did to Charisma Carpenter were horrifying. Mm-hmm. But he also did a lot of weird stuff with the guys on the show.
Well, Nicholas Brennan has been saying for years and years that Joss Whedon basically took out his self-hatred on him. That he created the character that was all of the shitty things about Joss Whedon and then hated it and was nasty to the person that he cast to portray it. That's some, next level fucked up.
Yeah. I know Nicholas Brennan has done some really bad stuff in real life. And again,
right.
It is really bad. There's no excuse for it.
Mm-hmm.
But you do kind of understand.
Well, I mean, it's the cycle of abuse.
Yeah. Again, awful stuff. It is bad.
I mean, there's a cliche about it, right? Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. But, it really sucks when something you like has been and not for you, for the
But the point that I'm making is that you don't look like that without being abused or mentally tormented by a trainer who you pay lots of money to do that to you.
Oh, see, normally yes, I think you can't get to look like that, but I know that there are some people who are genetically just.
Oh yeah.
Again, that guy I knew in college who had, a complete six-pack, ate like crap, and never worked out.
Oh, so you didn't tell me the never worked out part, because I was just assuming...
No. I don't think he ate like crap. I think he ate perfectly fine.
But that he worked hard to look like that.
He didn't do anything physical. And you know what?
I
Good
don't
for
go to
him.
the gym. I just naturally look like this.
Back to Charmed.
We're just on the opening credits now, folks.
Speaking of the opening credits...
What is going on with the opening credits in this episode?
It's like someone discovered video editing software. They keep speeding it up and slowing it down, and they're putting filters on it. They put this, yellow wavy filter over, a shot of a street sign. The whole thing is very, there's a slow motion shot of birds.
Literally a John Woo shot of birds flapping away. It is weird.
And they do the yellow filter again over a reverse shot of some buildings.
This is like that month when all of the 40-year-olds found Snapchat filters.
Oof. So, back at the manor, Phoebe is sucking at her job.
She can't write a reply.
And Leo walks in because I guess Leo just lives back at the manor now.
Sure.
I mean, I do appreciate that his plot this episode is basically everyone being like, why don't you just redefine your relationship with Piper? And he's like, oh, I don't want to. And then finally he talks to her and she's like, oh, I don't want to.
They do deserve each other. But he needs to be the go-between between Piper and the other sisters, since she's in magic school now.
And Chris is a shitty white lighter.
Yeah.
Again, he shouldn't be a white lighter.
I mean, 2 of the 3 people in this house can orb, but I guess they need Leo to come over and tell them what Piper's up to. Yeah, okay, but as you were saying, Phoebe's sucking at her job, her day job of giving advice, because she's not an empath anymore.
And Leo points out, he's like, you weren't an empath when you got the job. And she's like, but I was a witch. And he's like, what?
Okay, but you don't need to be an... Oh my god. Well, I complained about this before when she became an empath and said it made her better at her job. It doesn't. Also, the question here is a woman who is writing, and we don't hear the wording of the question, but essentially her husband cannot maintain an erection during sexual encounters. She wants to know what to do. And I'm like, you do not need to know how she's feeling, Phoebe. You know how she's feeling. Honestly, sometimes advice columnists call in like an expert, and this would be a good time to bring in an expert on like ED and sexual functioning and talk about that.
Her first attempt is try Viagra. The first attempt we see, she's been trying for a while, and I'm like, I mean, that's not a terrible piece of like this isn't something you write to an advice columnist about. This is something you see a doctor about. It's a medical issue.
Well, I mean, I grew up reading Savage Love, so I am going to tell you, yeah, it is something people write to advice columnists about. But,
I mean,
regardless of witch abilities, Phoebe is not qualified to answer this question. She should, like, bring in...
Yeah, like, try medical stuff or go the psychological route right off the bat. Find a local sex therapist and talk to them. This is literally what their job's for. Although I don't know how you'd find a good one. I remember we saw that billboard for, it was like Dr. Ashley or something, and she was a sex therapist back when you worked way out where you used to work.
Yeah, on the other side of the river.
Yeah. Like, I don't trust someone who's a doctor who uses a first name as a last name or goes by doctor their first name. I'm aware that this was a bit in Friends, but it's also how I actually feel.
You don't take it seriously?
I don't. If you're like, hey, I'm Dr. Chaz. No, you're not. Get a real last name, Chaz. We're not friends. You're an auto mechanic I pay to work on my body.
I'm just saying Phoebe could have used Dr. Ashley right now.
Yes, Phoebe could have used Dr. Ashley.
Oh, but yeah, no, she can't give advice if she can't feel what the writers are telling her they're feeling.
And Leo's like, Phoebe, I'm sorry. That's not a real problem.
Okay, it's not. It's really not a real problem. But it just occurred to me, having this, talking through and yelling at Phoebe, I actually am going to swing back around and give her credit for one thing that empathy would help her with. And that is, to use a term from the advice column reading community, the Iranian yogurt is not the issue, right? When people write in and they're like, this is my problem, this is my question, and the question doesn't match the problem. And having that empathy could be like, okay, you say that you think you're not being supportive enough of your husband's new career, but what you're feeling is anger that your husband wants to open a restaurant for magicians. And so maybe you should focus on that feeling and not where's the best place to go for a loan to buy a magician's restaurant that a man who is neither a magician nor a restaurateur plans to run.
With the help of his shady new magician friend.
Okay, listen, I always say I'm gonna link things, and then I never do when I actually upload it. And this is I swear, this isn't just trying to get you to, like, come to Blue Sky and say something, but, if I don't put the link to the magician restaurant story from Reddit somewhere on our socials, do nudge me, because you must read it. It is a must read.
So Leo is comforting Phoebe, and he's like, look, you'll get your powers back someday. Probably. I don't know. Why do you care? You barely use them anyway. And Phoebe's like, let's talk about Paige now. I'm worried about her. She's always making a whole bunch of sex noises while she's napping.
She's being worked to the bone.
And then we do a smash comedy cut to Paige having really loud nap sex with Mr. Right. Mm-hmm. And we go back to Phoebe and Leo, where Phoebe's like, I'm going to deflect some more. Why aren't you together with Piper? And Leo's like, we haven't really discussed it. And she's like, but why?
They're both deflecting.
Like, you're both at magic school now. You're around her all the time. You clearly still have feelings for each other. I mean, you boned and conceived Chris, and Chris orbs in, and Leo's like, oh, thank God. And Chris is like, what are you guys talking about? And Phoebe's like, your parents boning.
Actually, he says, are you talking about me? And Phoebe says, no, we're talking about your fetus.
It's not...
I know, she says, I know, she says your fetus, but she means the fetus version of you.
You as a fetus,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, Chris is technically Piper's fetus. Although, since he's out as a, 20-year-old man, I like to think of him as all of our fetus. But, okay, I have grown to love Chris over the course of us talking about him. And
I've always loved Chris.
And I have grown to appreciate little things about Drew Fuller's acting. He's generally not a very good actor. I say that a lot, often before praising his acting. And I don't think this is an acting thing. I think this is general disgust on the point of Drew Fuller when he's like, I found out the demons that are hunting other demons, they're called Demonatrixes. Like... I 100% think that is Drew Fuller being like, I can't believe this is going to be the thing I'm best known for.
Maybe we are being too mean to Drew Fuller. Maybe it's hard to act when you come into set every day and deal with actors who so clearly don't want to be there, and you're like embarrassed to be trying. He's like, it's like that episode of The Other Two where...
Oh, yeah, where Carrie gets the role as the lawyer on that...
on Emily Overruled, and everything's in black and white, like Pleasantville. Yeah, I mean, he was coming into Emily Overruled, and he didn't have the confidence of a 30-year-old man who's only just starting to make it to be like, hey, we should be giving our input as actors. More people need to watch The Other Two.
Yes, it is so good. It's on
HBO Max.
HBO Max. We're not calling it by its new name. It would be confusing. But yeah, he found out they're demonatrixes. They're the ones who are killing other demons, and they've been doing it with vanquishing potions. And Phoebe's like, why don't you call Leo Dad? And Chris is like, they're killing other demons with the same sort of vanquishing potions that one would get out of the Book of Shadows.
But it's also like, Phoebe, you can get us all off track talking about emotions instead of the actual thing that's going on with the demons just as well without your empathy power, apparently.
God. So, Paige shoves Mr. Right under her bed before Phoebe can come in, and Phoebe's like, are you sure you're okay? You look all flushed and like you were just having sex with a mystically created man. And Paige is like, I'm fine. What's up? And Phoebe's like, we found out what demons are hunting other demons, and we're going to go to magic school and fill in Piper. And Paige is like, did you really need to wake me up for that if I was actually napping?
So rude! Very rude. It would make sense if Alyssa Milano played this as though she actually did suspect something going on. It would make more sense. But that's not what she did.
Nope. So, Paige is getting psychoanalyzed by the man flesh that she created.
Right, because that's what she needed. She needed somebody who would be supportive and listen to her.
To quote Arrested Development, most prostitutes are great listeners.
Yeah! Did I not say this on the podcast last week? I feel like I did. Or maybe I just said it to you.
What?
That, yeah, my experience has been that most men do just want to talk.
Yeah. Yes. Especially because we don't have time to get into a whole patriarchy thing, but patriarchy kind of limits the people men feel like they can be emotionally vulnerable with. And
that's why women take on a lot of the emotional burden in cishet relationships.
Yep.
But
in this case, Paige has created a brainless sex robot who she can trauma dump on without worrying about it destroying his fragile little...
It's perfect.
It's a sex robot you can yell at.
If you think...
People don't yell at sex robots.
People don't yell at sex robots. You are living in a dream world, my friend.
So, we cut from the sex robot man being like...
We go from sex robots to dominatrixes.
Yes. The sex robot man's like, I was created for you, Paige. I know everything you want and desire. Smash cut to... It's the sex robot man, but his curly hair is kind of slicked back.
His hair is slicked back because he's a real piece of shit.
God. I was going to make a joke about Ryan Murphy forcing Darren Criss to do that in Glee, which feels microaggression-y. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe Ryan Murphy just has a microaggression vibe about him.
I think that might just be the case.
Although, the thing that Glee cast members talked about him doing, like where if he was mad at you, he would write a scene where one of the other characters would attack you based off of a physical feature or vocal inflection or whatever. He would have another character physically tear into you for something personal, so you would feel bad about yourself because by controlling the script he could punish the actors for not doing stuff he wanted them to do. And there's a bit where Darren Criss's character, Blaine, reveals that he has naturally curly hair, and everyone reacts in horror, and he's like, yeah, that's why I keep it slicked back all the time, and everyone talks about how disgusting his natural hair looks, and I'm like, in retrospect, I'm like, oh, he was probably mad at Darren Criss about something, because hey, Darren Criss's natural hair looks fantastic, I don't know what you're talking about. And be like, it's weird that people would have that reaction. It was weird that they made him slick his hair back for 6 seasons on that show.
Oof, yeah. It feels very Eurocentric beauty standard to tell someone that they have to like slick back their hair like that. It's like Aaron Sorkin said in that show where he wrote his and Kristen Chenoweth's dialogue. You only want to have an argument when you can write both sides of the fight.
God. So, Mr. Wrong, because this is Mr. Right's evil twin, Mr. Wrong, strangles the Lucy Punch dominatrix to death in front of the other dominatrixes. They're all blonde women, so we know that they're evil. Well, they're also in fetish gear, so that's how we know that they're evil, but he's like, you don't take initiative. You do what I say, because I'm psychically connected to Paige, and I love Paige, but I'm all of the dark things that she knows she can't have. So I'm doing things to get Paige, to be evil, so she'll be with me, because you can't, have good without bad, and blah, 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 blah.
Okay, I know that I shit on personal gain before, but as a personal gain consequence, the fact that basically the nega version of her sex robot was also created, that's good. That's good consequences.
Yeah, I wouldn't have an issue with personal gain if it was stuff like this. Not Paige cast an instant karma spell and then her boobs get really big, or paying lip service to personal gain but having it never factor in. Like,
if it wasn't personal gain so much as it was just like the physics of doing magic. She created this guy, so now this one popped into existence. Much like the far better Buffy episode Superstar.
Yes. I also just want to touch on this really briefly. This is how white lighters and dark lighters work in the reboot of Charmed, which I think is one of the few really interesting things the new Charmed did.
Okay, so what are White Lighters on New Charmed then? They're not just super good people who died then.
No, they're dead people who the elders choose to split into a good half and an evil half after death. Like, they purify the soul and then leave the evil in.
Okay, so here's my question. Does this make them more of a value neutral person when they were on Earth? If they're gonna get split into two parts?
I honestly don't know. I'm assuming the elders just found whoever died recently and
they were like, oh, they were just popping into the store to pick up whatever dead people we had in stock to turn into White Lighters.
Because I know they have no memories of their lives, unlike the White Lighters in this show, of their lives before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they just kind of do a blank slate thing, split them in half. I think they trapped the Dark Lighters somewhere and they get out and that's a conflict or something. I don't know. I watched a little New Charmed, but it was just kind of boring all the time. Like, it wasn't...
Yeah, that's the thing, right? One thing you can't say about having all of your demons literally be blonde dominatrixes is at least it's not boring. At least it's memorable.
Yeah, so a new demonatrix goes up to Mr. Wrong and she's like, I guess I'm your number 2 now. I guess Lucy Punch was your number 2 before you strangled her to death in front of you. Which makes it seem weird that I'm so hep about getting the job, but...
Okay, but also we know he can't tell them apart because of what's going to happen later in the episode. So who even knows?
Well, he puts all the ones with bad wigs in the back row, so... So... Piper is looking at prophecies and shit to try to figure out, who's after Wyatt. And she's forcing Sigmund to look at high up prophecies by levitating, even though he talks about not liking levitating. Phoebe and Leo orb into the room and Phoebe sees Sigmund levitating and she's like, oh, I remember when I used to look like an idiot doing that.
I don't remember you levitating at all, Phoebe. I know you have, but I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, and it was never an effect that looked great. I mean, I feel like empathy was her most annoying superpower, but at least it was, like, cheap enough so that she could use it all the time. She just had to, like, do the Matt Parkman face while they played the little bell sound.
Yes. I feel like it's weird that the sister who never uses her powers, ever, is the one who gets them stripped away, because it feels like the show is making a commentary on that, but I don't think the show is aware enough to be making a commentary like that.
Also, I mean, she still has her spellcasting powers, which...
is all she ever used.
Yeah.
I think it's clear Phoebe just doesn't want to be here.
So...
Alyssa Milano tries to get in some laughs with Phoebe's attempts to urge her powers on by putting her hands aggressively on Sigmund to try to get a premonition and then making a very disturbed face saying she's trying to orb even though that's not her power.
Yeah, like, she makes this pained weasel face.
Ooh, yeah.
And Leo's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm trying to orb. And he was like, you can never orb. What's it? Can I play the piano anymore? Sure you can. Well, I couldn't before. But, yeah, Leo just orbs her home.
Well, because clearly at this point she's just trying to do a bit and get laughs. And it's like, what are we doing here, Phoebe? What are we doing here?
But, now Piper and Leo are alone and they might have to, because they sent Sigmund off to do something.
Now they might have to have a conversation. Even though
About
they're
their
already having a
relationship.
child. Another child together.
Yes.
Okay, so over at Spellman Automotive,
Is that a Sabrina reference? Are they referencing Sabrina there?
I don't think so. I think they just thought, oh, spells, witches, Spellman.
Yeah. So Mr. Wrong is looking at a car because Mr. Right mentioned psychically knowing that Paige wants to drive a Ferrari around.
She wants to ride in a Porsche with the top down.
Yes, across Italy. So.
Seems like you should fly to Italy and then buy the car there.
Yeah.
I feel like now you're just going to be paid to ship it over.
Well, maybe she can orb the car to Italy.
Oh, of course. I forgot about magic. What am I, Phoebe over here?
Although, do you think Paige could orb a car? It seems pretty big.
And how far?
Ooh, yeah.
Huh.
Although, I guess orbing isn't really, like... Leo can orb to France, and it's a nothing thing, so...
No, but the weight, carrying all that weight.
The car. Yeah, because I guess it's her active power, it's not her white lighter power.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so, anyway, Mr. Wrong is buying Paige's dream car. The guy, the car salesman's like... What does he say? He's like...
He says cash or lease.
Which...
Are not the two options.
Yeah.
Like, you want to purchase it outright or you want to lease it are the two options. And then how you're going to finance it is an additional question after that. But it doesn't matter, because he's not going to do any of it. He's just going to drive off, which is why they usually make you leave your driver's license at least, and probably a deposit too.
Yeah. The Demonatrix throws the salesman really far, and Mr. Wrong very, very easily orbs a car across the parking lot and catches him in it. And the Demonatrix is like, what? And he's like, we don't kill innocents. And she's like, why did we let you hire us?
It does seem like a terrible job. That's why they had to get such low-level demons to do it.
So Chris orbs in front of the car and gives Mr. Wrong and the Demonatrix his best Piper stink face. It's fantastic. He has his arms crossed. He's like, well, 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 what are you doing, young man? And Mr. Wrong immediately just tries to run him over, which... Is Chris not an innocent? Are we okay with killing Chris? How many issues does Paige have with her nephew?
Right?
I mean, actually, she's been pretty irritated with Chris. So
to be fair, Chris's solution to this problem is to himself steal a car
and chase after Mr. Wrong, and then Mr. Wrong just orbs away with his car, and the cops surround Chris with his car.
You know. This isn't even a, like, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but this isn't even a Daryl, can you fix this magic problem for us? This is legitimately, can you fix that our nephew makes terrible calls and tries to steal a car instead of using, I don't know, magic?
Chris, my dude, you are telekinetic. Also, you can teleport. You could teleport into the car. You could telekinetically turn the steering wheel. We saw you teleport Leo into Valkyrie Land at the beginning of this episode. You could pull Mr. Wrong out of the car. These are very easy things for you to do. But no, steal a different car and chase after him. And then just sit there while the police surround you.
Instead of warping away!
You can teleport. Or glamour yourself at least, dude. It's not a difficult spell. But yet, why didn't you orb away?
So that's how we get in the next scene.
Back at the manor, Phoebe is telling Elise that she'll have her column done real soon. It's her #1 priority. Chris orbs into the room and she hangs up on Elise. She's like, Elise, I have more important things. Bye. She's like, where were you, young man? And he's like, jail. And she's like, now I have to talk to Daryl. Thanks.
He already made it clear that he's very pissed at us.
I mean, she doesn't seem to realize that, though. I mean, I feel like it's understandable that Daryl's pretty mad at them.
Right? Oh.
But yeah, Chris
is flummoxed that this adversary that they're facing now doesn't want to hurt innocents and can orb.
Yeah, so he scries for him. Scrying. Nice that Chris just immediately goes to scrying.
I know. It's one of the reasons you love him.
And
the call is coming from inside the house!
They run into Paige's room only to catch her making out with Mr. Wright. And Phoebe is...
horrified!
She is really, really mad about this. I guess it kind of makes sense because she just lost her powers for abusing...
Yes, that makes sense. But she's also acting like really grossed out by the fact that her sister is having sex with this creation, even though she made one for Piper.
Which Paige points out, and she's like, that's different. It was for Piper, and we were being nice to her. I've never conjured a sex toy, which I'm gonna call bullshit on. I know it's not exactly that, but you cast that dude finding spell back in season 1. Like, which also, you're Alyssa Milano. Come on, you didn't need that spell to find dudes. You're Alyssa Milano, and Phoebe has ridiculously low standards. Like,
but also, you know, just let Paige let off steam in a consequence-free way.
I mean, there are consequences. Demons are killing other demons. I mean,
it seems to me like if what Mr. Wrong really wanted was just to give Paige what she wanted, this whole thing could have been solved with a conversation, and they could have stuck around. They could have both stuck around.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Wrong also wants to live because, as with the last man they created with magic, there's a set time period where this dude is around and then he disappears. Although apparently Paige can just resummon him and he remembers everything from last time, so...
So it's really just like dating a guy who lives in a different time zone.
Or is constantly slipping in and out of comas. I don't know.
Well, I was thinking, like... I know I said a different time zone because I was thinking then he's working a different schedule to me, right? I'm working when he's asleep and... So,
Chris points out that's the guy who tried to run me over. By the way, not cool. I do kind of love... You know what? I just love Chris. I've been pretty upfront about that. But, yeah, Phoebe is tearing into Paige. She's like, I meant take a day off, get a spa, go to the spa, get a massage. And Mr. Wright's like, I massage her. And Phoebe mimes vomiting, which... Oh no, your sister's having consensual sex with an attractive-ish man. Why is that gross to you? I mean, I don't have a sibling. Assuming I wouldn't like to think about them having sex.
No, I was actually thinking about what extent consent factors into this. But that's a whole other can of worms.
He's a sex robot. It's fine.
I mean, my stance has been, if you're sentient enough to give consent, and you do, right, then we're okay. If you're not sentient enough to understand that, and you are a machine, then that's fine too.
Also, kind of weird thing, she did explicitly put the, mind control pheromones in.
I think she probably turned it down a little. I think she just made him attractive to her and not,
I don't know,
whatever he was before.
I don't know, Mr. Wrong uses them against her later in the episode. So, I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with it. I guess it's I don't know, doing poppers before sex.
No, it's I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they know what pheromones are on the show. I was gonna say it's like wearing really strong attractive perfume. It's not like a glamour. If we're talking about pheromones, right? That's why I said I don't know if the show knows what pheromones are.
Well, I mean, they're used to control people. I mean, ants use them to control other ants. I feel like there is some element of mind control being suggested through the use of pheromones.
Okay.
Anyway, Daryl's here to arrest Chris, and the casual way Phoebe's like, oh good, Daryl, you're here. Chris is out of jail. You need to make sure that they don't rearrest him. And Daryl's like, no, I don't.
Daryl says that the reason he's been allowed to remember all of the shit that happened with the cleaners is because the cleaners wanted to make it clear that he could not cover for them anymore. Which seems like it should be the opposite.
Yeah, the cleaners, your whole job is covering stuff up. Daryl would make that easier. But he's like, yeah, no. I literally experienced myself getting the death penalty last episode. I'm not doing this shit for you anymore. Andy died forever ago.
Honestly, the fact that he keeps coming back after they killed him to go to Valhalla is a miracle.
Yeah. But, Andy died at the end of season 1. Prue died at the end of season 3. He made a promise to Andy to protect Prue, And he already whiffed that one, and now he's
Oh.
been through a bunch of shit. I mean, there's not really anything he could have done, but... In fact, that was kind of a dick move on Andy's part.
Because he knew what a dangerous life they led.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Andy had him, like, he promised to, like, keep covering shit up like Andy was. But yeah, he's not doing that anymore. Chris needs to go to big boy jail.
I understand where Daryl's coming from.
Yeah, like, they treat him so badly. He is one of their oldest friends.
But Daryl, saying that you're not going to cover for them is going to create more problems.
Especially because you're saying it in front of two regular-ass police officers.
I was thinking more like when Chris orbs out of jail and just disappears. Who's going to be handling the heat on that, Daryl?
Yeah, you should be like, I'm sorry, I'm personally involved with the Halliwells. You need to get someone else to work this case.
I mean, yeah. If he really wants to get away from this. Ugh.
So, Mr. Wrong is talking to the main demonatrix about how he's psychically connected to Paige and he knows everything she wants. He exists solely to please her, but, you know...
He knows what she really wants, though.
He needs access to her.
Yes.
That's the thing. He needs to get her to come to him, so he's just going to set up his next move so that blah, 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 they can capture her. She'll get a big whiff of his hormones and...
She'll want to stay.
Yeah.
Like Persephone eating the pomegranate seeds.
Very much like that. So, Leo and Piper are having a very awkward moment back at magic school where they're both theoretically working on what, you know, turns Wyatt evil, but it's so awkward.
Neither one of them wants to have the define the relationship conversation, which makes sense since they already have one child together and another on the way. But it seems like a time that you definitely want to have had the define the relationship conversation.
Like, I just remember them kind of drifting back into being a couple. I don't remember them, you know, specifically talking about getting back together, but maybe they do. I mean, honestly, the Avatar stuff is so boring. I cleanered myself and wiped most of it out of my memory. I do like this. I really enjoy this whole exchange, though, because it is incredibly awkward, and they're playing it straight. They're like, look, this is an uncomfortable conversation that we definitely need to have at some point. And, like, clearly there's still an attraction between us, but there's a lot of stuff going on. But there's always a lot of stuff going on. And luckily, I don't know, I feel like they were starting to make a little progress here. Paige orbs in, and she's like, I need to borrow Leo, and also I'm wearing this really weird... It's a shirt that has a space for a belt that has this, like, loose ribbon tied through it.
And the ribbon is, like, super long. The ends of it go down past her knees. And it's supposed to sit on her waist, obviously, but because it's the early 2000s, the shirt is way higher than her waist. It was a choice.
So, Paige describes the situation to them that, you know, she created a Mr. Right, and Piper's like, you mean the one you created for me? And she's like, no, I made my own, but I accidentally created an evil twin, and now the evil twin's killing demons because something nefariousness, and also Chris is in jail.
Is there another Mr. Wrong out there from the first time they cast this spell that just never tried to find them and make a connection with Piper so they don't know it?
Maybe, but he would theoretically have blinked out of existence when their Mr. Right did, too.
Oh. Okay. There you go. I was like, how many Mr. Wrongs are floating out there from this spell?
So, Mr. Right goes to check on Phoebe, and she's like, I thought you'd be downstairs peeling Paige a grape, and he's like, Paige doesn't like grapes. But also, since I am made out of Paige, and I have all of her thoughts and emotions, I can tell through our sisterly bond that you're mad at Paige, and also from your, facial expression and tone and the words you're using to talk to me. But mostly through our sisterly connection, I can tell that you're mad at me. Do you want to have therapy with Paige without Paige? Like, do you want to get all of your anger out at Paige on someone who's not Paige, so you can just have a nice relationship with her without saying all of the shitty stuff directly to her, but still hurting a part of her, but not the main part of her, so it doesn't really matter?
I feel like it's a super boss move for him to come in, be like, hey, I'm not a real person. I'm just a tiny piece of a person who doesn't have empathy powers. But let me explain what emotions are to you, Phoebe.
He does talk about his Pinocchio syndrome. He's like, I'm not real, but every time she brings me back, I wish I was a little more. And that's probably why my evil opposite is, trying to get Paige so that he can have her use her magic to make him real forever. Because that whole being cool with fading out of existence thing apparently wears off the more you get summoned.
What are the ethics of this?
Probably not fantastic. So they blurb into the one alley set that Charmed ever uses, and Mr. Wrong is there, and he uses his pheromones on Paige, which manifests as just kind of light blinking over her, and she's like, I'm under your thrall now. And Phoebe's like, thrall this! And she throws a potion at him, and it just does nothing. He's like, I'm not a real person. You can't kill me.
You can't vanquish me. I'm just the embodiment of Paige's horniness. You can't vanquish that away, Phoebe.
I'm just your memory, Homer. I can't give you any new information.
Exactly.
But yeah, Mr. Wrong orbs behind Paige and then orbs her into the underworld where he's recreated her room.
He's trying to capture Paige the way Picard traps Moriarty in the Ship in a Bottle episode of Star Trek.
Moriarty, who's very distractingly played by Niles, the butler from The Nanny.
I thought you were going to use this. I thought you were going to bring this full circle to you not liking Data, since Moriarty essentially exists because Data programmed the computer to create a foe who could defeat him.
No, I don't like Data because Pinocchio syndrome was played out even back then. Back then in the far-off days of the 90s.
Back in the 90s.
You were in a very famous TV show. Mm. But, yeah, Mr. Right is helping them strategize against Mr. Wrong. He knows that he's not going to hurt Paige because they both love Paige, but they can't vanquish him because he's not real, but they need to stop him from making Paige make him real, and to do that they should make Mr. Right real because that will also make Mr. Wrong real, and then they can vanquish him.
Yeah, I think that tracks.
I mean...
Or else it's a really long con on his part.
Couldn't they just orb to wherever Paige is? I know Leo's having trouble sensing her because Leo's really bad at the white lighter thing even when he's an elder. But, wouldn't the better thing to be, temporarily binding Paige's powers so she can't make him real?
I don't know if he has that power.
Well, I was thinking Phoebe. Because it's a spell thing, right? Or Hal Piper.
I was thinking of it as the spell that Rex and Hannah were using earlier, but a lesser version of it, way back in season 1.
I was thinking Grams's thing, but
I don't think it would work on her now because she would resist it.
Or I guess I was thinking the spell they used on the pyrokinetic kid to bind his powers, but I guess Paige is a charmed one, so it's probably more than just binding some.
I mean, can't they just orb her to White Lighter Land and have some elders make her stay there for a couple of days? Just not even a couple of days, just till midnight when they all go away?
Yeah, or hell, orb her to that one outcropping in hell they're always going to. Or the top of the Golden Gate Bridge. Just don't have her physically near Mr. Wrong. Mm-hmm. Or, I don't know, shove Mr. Right's armpit in her face so that his pheromones overpower his pheromones.
There are other solutions to this problem other than by making Mr. Right real, is what we're saying.
Cast a sleeping spell on Paige.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, Paige is all like, whoa, I'm so dizzy and out of it. I can't believe that you rebuilt the manor in hell for me. And he's like, I would do anything for you. And I know that what you really want is to make everyone bow at your feet, to use your powers freely and have everyone worship you as the goddess you are. And Paige is like, I mean, I kind of want that. He names himself after the first boy she ever had a crush on, but I'm just going to keep calling him Mr. Wrong.
Yeah.
He's also the part of her that resents her sisters for being shitty to her all the time for no reason.
Right? They really are.
But he's aware that he can't just out and out be like, let's kill them. So he's like, don't you want to be free of your sisters? Don't you want to be free to just do whatever you want to do? And she's like, yeah, that does sound nice.
Mm-hmm.
So Leo goes to the police station to yell at Daryl because he promised Piper that he would get Chris out of jail. And Leo's like, the sisters have done so much for you. I can't believe you're being such a jerk about not letting our son out of jail for stealing a car.
I mean, yeah.
And Daryl's like, they have killed me twice this season. Twice. That's not cool. I remember dying multiple times. I have a wife and children, Leo. I can't keep doing this. And Leo's like, you are being so inconsiderate right now. Poor Daryl.
Yeah.
He also says his catchphrase, I'm a cop. Just so you'll remember. Leo makes a point that makes no sense. He says sooner or later they're going to figure out what Chris is, and then what are you going to do? And Daryl's like, what?
Well, he means how are you going to pretend you still don't know about magic? Which, again, no, you're right. Just be as confused as everyone around you, even though you do know the whole story.
Yeah. Like, after Chris is in jail, I don't think you're responsible for what happens to him. Like, if jail loses him, then that's on jail, not on you, Daryl. But, I don't know. Leo makes it seem like demons are gonna come after Chris in jail or something. Like, he's very insistent on Chris getting out of jail.
Well, here's my question. Is Daryl more concerned with separating himself from this whole world, or with making sure magic doesn't get exposed? Because he thinks that's why the cleaners let him remember his death. I
mean, I think he thinks rightly the cleaners just let him remember his death to be dicks.
Okay, because what he is doing is a recipe for magic being discovered.
Yeah. Leo orbs into Chris's jail cell and he's like, come on, Chris, let's get out of here. And Chris is like, but, like, isn't that bad? And Leo's like, I don't care. Do you care? And Chris is like, I don't care. I'm kidding. He has this thing where he's like, you're my son and I'm going to protect you and you're not safe in here. So let's orb out. And Chris is like, wow, I've grown to appreciate you as my dad. And they both orb out together. Back at the manor, Phoebe has made Mr. Right real.
And he tests this out by immediately picking up a knife and cutting the inside of his palm.
Why?
So he's going to be dealing with that all night.
Why would you... You're going to live for, like, 4 more hours at the most. I mean, no, I'm sorry, that's wrong because he's real now. So, now his first experience is as a real person.
But they made him real in order to be able to vanquish Mr. Wrong, and theoretically he gets vanquished too. So, yeah, he's not going to live much longer.
Okay, so everyone blorps into the attic, and Leo's like, now that he's real, you can vanquish him with potions, but you need to get close to him. And Phoebe's like, how am I going to do that? And all of the men look awkwardly at each other. Smash cut to Phoebe in one of the Demonatrix outfits. And a not terrible blonde wig. There are worse ones.
Well, like you said, that's why they made her stand in the back row.
Yes.
She's mostly covered by other people for most of this scene.
I was mostly talking about that one, though. Like, one of the background Demonatrixes has just a god-awful wig, that one.
Oh, yeah, that is bad. But she's out of focus, too, so.
Yeah. So, Paige calls Piper into the room, and then Mr. Wrong orb ties up Piper's hands, and they both leave her alone in the room full of Demonatrixes.
Right, because she wouldn't hurt her sister. He couldn't get her to go that far. But he could get her to ignore her sister.
So, what is incredibly embarrassing for the Demonatrixes, they're all advancing on Piper, who is bound and gagged. Or just bound, I guess not gagged. This would be a good time to break out that turning people into frog spells that you used on the students at magic school.
Right? With just your eyes.
Or mouth.
Yeah.
But the Demonatrixes start approaching her, and then Phoebe shurikens one of them to death, and she's like, oops, I missed, and then she shurikens another one, and then she starts like kicking them, and she and Piper duck behind a rock outcropping, and Piper's like, Jesus Christ, Phoebe, what do they have you wearing this week?
You know, Alyssa, if you would just get pregnant, they would stop making you do this.
So, Phoebe unties Piper's hands, and okay, this whole bit is so dumb. Because Piper's like, I can probably blast a couple of them, and Phoebe's like, that'd be great, except there are 4 of them, and I'm not going to let you fight them. I'm going to fight them all by myself. Ignoring the fact, Piper, you can freeze time. It's an area of effect spell that encompasses the entire room that you're in.
Okay, wait, new theory.
Yes?
She did freeze the room. And that's why Phoebe was able to take out all 4 Demonatrixes. And she's just not wanting to make Phoebe feel low about it. She's like, oh, good job, Phoebe! You did that all on your own! That's my canon. That's my headcanon. And we, the audience, see it from Phoebe's perspective, so we don't see time get frozen.
So Chris wants them to go into the underworld and try to save Piper, but Leo's like, no, I can't sense her, and Chris is like, so we'll look around. There are like 2 underworld sets, and Leo's like, you're my son, and I love you, and I'm going to keep you safe, and that means not exploring the underworld, but only going in if we know the exact location of your mom who is pregnant with you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be easier to sense her if you were in the underworld? Like, if you were in the same plane as her? Because I'm pretty sure that's how it worked when the Source kidnapped her and was doing the mind whammy thing.
No, that was absolutely true. Yeah.
But yeah, Phoebe, back underground, Phoebe is going to kill all of the demons by herself. And because, you know, even if she doesn't have powers, you know, she believes in herself or whatever. And Piper really takes care of the whole situation because Phoebe runs out and she's like, I'm going to kung fu fight you. And they throw the shurikens at her and Piper just freezes them, blows 2 of the demons up, and then just kind of stands back and lets Phoebe throw the shurikens back at the women who threw them.
Then she says to Phoebe, not bad for a girl who can't levitate. No, she's trying to build Phoebe up is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Since you did mention the 2 rooms in hell, when we first see, I was going to mention this, but when we first see Mr. Wrong in hell, he's standing next to the Gemini symbol, and I thought, oh, the twins, nice touch, good job, charmed, right? But then when we get a wider shot, I see that all of the zodiac symbols are all around the walls.
Boo.
I mean, it still could have been a choice at that point, but
yeah,
made me less sure that was an actual choice they made.
So Phoebe and Piper open the door to the room where Mr. Wrong and Paige are hanging out, and he's like, damn it. And it's such an anticlimax. Phoebe's like, blow him up, Piper, and he's like, what? I'm not real, that won't work. And Phoebe's like, no, I cast a spell and I made you real. He's like, but that's all I wanted. And then Piper blows him up.
Okay, luckily we see Paige come kind of out of a trance after they blow him up. Because if she was untranced when they blow him up, I'm like, that's kind of cold to just blow up her boyfriend in front of her like that.
I also want to point out, like, what did Mr. Wrong do that was bad other than try to kill the sisters at the end of the episode? Like, if his whole thing was...
It's a big other than.
Yes, that is a big other than. Also, why did he do that? Does Paige resent her sisters that much? Yeah, okay, I guess I can see it. But, like, if his thing was that he just wanted to be alive to help Paige explore her darker side, maybe they should have done more with that, because it just seemed like he was killing demons and he stole a car once.
I'm just telling you. When seasons are 24 episodes long, sometimes you have some nonsensical filler.
So... Leo is talking to Piper about how he feels like his relationship with Chris is in a better place. And he's like, I just hope that when the Chris that's currently growing inside of you is 23, then we'll be in a good place too. And maybe the two of us will be in a good place. And Piper's like, yeah, sure, why not? Look, I don't want to do more romance subplots with me and randos.
I do want to point out that the Chris car salesman thing got worked out because Leo went and cast a memory charm on the car salesman so that he couldn't testify.
Yeah, Leo's like, yeah, I just remember that we all have the ability to wipe minds whenever we want, so I just made him forget Chris, and the charges got dropped. And Piper's like, wasn't not doing stuff for personal gain like a moral in this episode? And he's like, nothing's immoral in any episode.
The moral was... everybody's got to keep shitting on Paige.
So, Phoebe's giving Paige advice, which is, hey, Paige, stop trying to have episodes that are about you. You don't have a consistent character arc. They're never good. Just be a cool supporting character in other people's stories. We know you're just here for the paycheck. We know your ass is no longer even half into this. Just stop trying to have plots. So, Mr. Wright comes into the room and he's like, hi, I'm a real person now. Hopefully you magicked me up like an identity or something, because otherwise I'm going to be deeply in trouble when I try to do anything. Like, I guess I'm homeless now.
Oof.
He's going off to seek his fortune out in the world, and Paige is like, it's weird, I created you for sex, but I'm kind of like your mom, huh?
Oh, see, that's... Yeah. That's a problem.
Because, like, you're a life I created, and now I'm just going to send you out in the world, and I'm never going to, talk to you ever again.
We're never going to bring you up again?
Even though, I guess, you're just a real person who exists now. Because of me. I feel like I should have some deeper feelings about that, but nope. Next week it's Witch Wars.
I really feel like creating a living sentient being with magic, I just really feel like creating another sentient human being with magic has world implications that are just not addressed in Charmed.
Like, I mean, yeah, like, you made a person, Paige. You made a person and just sent him out in the world. And he's probably like, do you think he's like a clone? Whose DNA does he have?
Since he's affected by things that affects Paige and vice versa, I think he's got Paige's DNA.
Yeah.
What if he goes out and starts committing crimes and leaving DNA all over the place? Paige doesn't have enough problems already.
But whatever. We don't have to worry about him ever again. The episode's over. It's fine. There are worse episodes of Charmed.
Oh, okay. There are definitely worse episodes of Charmed. But I'm like, it's not fine. I need a follow-up on this guy. This is like Hot Frosty if there was no woman to take him home after, he came to life.
you can assume that he immediately got hit by a bus.
Like a reverse Meet Joe Black?
Yes, exactly like a reverse Meet Joe Black. Much like the Charmed ones, we have our own power of three. The first power in our pack is Premonition. Who in this episode is, was, or will become famous? No one. I don't think anyone.
No, all of the guest stars were...
Literal nobodies.
Well, that feels overly mean.
Okay, people that did not have substantial acting careers.
Yes.
The second power in our pack is Time Freeze. What specifically dated this episode? Okay, this is going to be weird, but the fact that the erectile dysfunction drug that Phoebe mentioned was Viagra...
Oh, that's not weird. That was going to be mine, too.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I don't know.
I don't think people understand what a, like, pop culture punchline Viagra was when it was first introduced.
Yeah, like, you just said the word Viagra, and it was a joke in and of itself. That was, like, 90% of 2.5 Men. I'm assuming. I never watched it.
Also, people talked about it as, like, the little blue pill. Imagine another chemical, like a medication, having enough market reach that people who don't take it know what the pill looks like.
Yeah, but now there's a bunch of ways that you can medically induce an erection.
I was watching, a couple months ago, I was watching for the first time the movie Love and Other Drugs, and it's a period piece, but a period piece that's like 10 years back, so I didn't think of it as being a period piece until the character who's a drug rep reaches the time when Viagra is introduced, and like the whole second half of the movie is about, hey, how wild was it when Viagra was released? So, which is to say, it was definitely a pop culture punchline, which is why that was going to be my time freeze.
And I believe that will take us to the final power in our pack, telekinesis. What, if anything, genuinely moved you? I really like the scenes between Piper and Leo. I feel like they had an actual, genuine emotion to them. And the big thing is, I feel like it felt realistically awkward. This is an uncomfortable conversation to have with someone.
So the reason that you liked it, the reason that you gave it telekinesis is actually...
It genuinely moved me.
It's actually the reason I would have to give it astral projection. It was too real. It made me want to physically leave my body.
Yeah, it was very being stuck in a room with a couple who's having a very private conversation.
No, exactly. That's exactly what it was. I'm getting like residual chills from thinking about the cringe.
So that'll about do it for this week.
Oh. So next week's episode is going to be Witch Wars, as you said at the top of the episode.
And the middle and the end.
And the Peacock description is, Gideon conspires with two demons to make Piper, Phoebe, and Paige part of Witch Wars. Which tells us nothing.
It's a reality TV show. It's like Survivor, except you die.
I just feel like that's not a very exciting description for an episode I am super psyched to watch.
Yes.
Alright, so that'll do it for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Our show is partially listener supported. If you want to be one of our supporters, head over to our website, www.welcometotelevision.net, and click on our Patreon link. We'd like to thank our current $5 and above patrons, Beryl, Patricia, Rosa, Ryan, Maricruz, Benjamin, Kate, Jen, Dan, Anthony, Daniel, and Hippolyta.
If you'd like to support the show in other ways, you could always rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find the show.
If you want to talk about this episode or any episode of any television show, you can find us at Blue Sky at Welcome to Television, or you can email us at ilovetelevisionzines@gmail.com.
So until next time, I'm Max.
And I'm Tina.
And this has been Welcome to the Halliwell Manor.